in 7 days. That's all he has left. One of the greatest defenders in Liverpool's history just walked into a television studio and declared war on his own club's manager. Jamie Carragher didn't mince words. He didn't play politics. He looked into the camera and said 3 words that have sent shockwaves through world football. Save your job. But here's what nobody is telling you. What if Carragher isn't trying to save Liverpool? What if he's trying to destroy Arne Slot for reasons that go far deeper than results? Before I expose the hidden agenda that could tear Liverpool Football Club apart from the inside, you need to subscribe to Cyberboot, because what you're about to discover in the next 11 minutes will change everything you think you know about loyalty, legacy, and the brutal politics of elite football. The clock is ticking, and someone's career is about to end. Welcome back to Cyberboot, where we don't just report football drama. We dissect it, analyze it, and expose the power games that mainstream media is too afraid to touch. Today's story is unprecedented. A club legend publicly executing his own manager, not behind closed doors, not through whispers to journalists, but openly, brutally, and with a specific numerical demand. Jamie Carragher, 400-plus appearances for Liverpool, Champions League winner, one club man, and now one of football's most influential pundits, has drawn a line in the sand. His message to Arne Slot: win 7 points from your next 3 games, or you're finished. Let that sink in. A former player who has no official role at the club has essentially given the current manager a performance review with a deadline attached. But here's what makes this story absolutely explosive. Arne Slot won the Premier League in his first season at Liverpool. He succeeded Jurgen Klopp, a man worshipped at Anfield, and delivered the ultimate prize within 10 months. Yet now, just months into his second season, after a brutal run of form, one of the club's greatest ever players is calling for his head. So the question isn't just, can Slot survive? The question is, why is Carragher doing this now? What does he know that we don't? And is this really about results? Or is there something much darker happening behind the scenes at Anfield? Let me take you inside the crisis that's threatening to destroy Liverpool's season, and possibly their entire future. To understand why Jamie Carragher issued his 7-day ultimatum, we need to examine the collapse that preceded it. The numbers don't lie. In 9 losses, in 12 games across all competitions. Let me repeat that. 9 losses in 12 games. For context, Jurgen Klopp's worst ever run at Liverpool was 5 losses in 12 games during the 2020-21 injury crisis. Slot has almost doubled that failure rate. The Champions League humiliation. On Wednesday, March 12th, Liverpool travelled to PSV Eindhoven for a Champions League round of 16 second leg. They were protecting a 3-2 advantage from the first leg at Anfield. Final score, PSV 4, Liverpool 1. Liverpool were torn apart, defensively disorganised, midfield overrun, attack toothless. It was the kind of performance that doesn't just lose you a tie, it loses you credibility, PSV's manager afterwards said, and I quote, "We didn't expect it to be this easy." Think about that. A club from the Eredivisie, a league ranked 7th in UEFA coefficients, didn't expect to dominate the Premier League champions this easily. The Premier League spiral, but the PSV disaster wasn't an isolated incident. It was the culmination of weeks of regression. Liverpool's form in the Premier League since January, lost to Newcastle 2-0, drew with Fulham 2-2, after leading 2-0, lost to Everton 1-0, in the derby, lost to Bournemouth 3-1, drew with Brentford 1-1, lost to Manchester City 3-1. That's 1 win in 7 league games. For a team that was top of the table at Christmas, this is catastrophic. By early March, Liverpool had dropped from 1st to 4th. The gap to leaders Arsenal had grown to 10 points, and suddenly, the conversation shifted from, can Liverpool win the title again? To, can Liverpool even qualify for the Champions League? But here's where it gets interesting. During this entire collapse, Arne Slot remained calm, too calm according to some. In press conferences, he spoke about processes, transitions, and long-term planning. He didn't panic. He didn't make dramatic changes. He stuck to his philosophy. And that's exactly what made Jamie Carragher snap. Before we continue, I want your take. When a manager wins the league in their first season but struggles in their second, should they get more time? Or does past success mean nothing when current form is this bad? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm reading every single one. Friday, March 14th. The Telegraph publishes Jamie Carragher's weekly column. The headline stops the football world in its tracks. Arne Slot has 1 week to save his job at Liverpool. Not, Slot needs to improve. Not, Liverpool must find form. 1 week to save his job. Let me read you the key passages, because the language Carragher uses is devastating. What we are witnessing at Liverpool is unacceptable. This is not a blip. This is not a transition. This is a team that has forgotten how to compete at the highest level. Slot won the Premier League last season, and he deserves credit for that. But he won it with Klopp's players, Klopp's system and Klopp's winning mentality. Now that he's had a full summer to implement his own ideas, we're seeing the results, and they're disastrous. Liverpool have 3 games in the next 7 days. West Ham at home, Sunderland away in the FA Cup, and Leeds United at home. If Slot cannot secure at least 7 points from these 9 available points, his position must become untenable. 7 points from 9. That means 2 wins and a draw minimum. Anything less, according to Carragher, and Slot should be sacked. But it's not just the ultimatum that's shocking, it's the personal nature of the criticism. Carragher goes further in the column. I've spoken to players, current and former, who are concerned about the direction of the club. The standards that were non-negotiable under Klopp are now being compromised. The intensity in training has dropped. The accountability has disappeared. This is explosive. Carragher is essentially saying he has sources inside the dressing room, feeding him information that Slot has lost control. Now here's the twist. Jamie Carragher has no official role at Liverpool. He's a pundit for Sky Sports. He's not on the board. He's not in the coaching staff. He has no power to hire or fire the manager. Yet his words carry more weight than almost anyone else connected to the club. Why? The Carragher factor. Because Jamie Carragher represents something bigger than himself. He represents the Liverpool way. He's the embodiment of the club's identity. Hard work, passion, never giving up, winning with style and substance. When Carragher speaks, Liverpool fans listen. When he criticizes, they echo it. When he demands change, the ownership feels the pressure. And Slot knows this, which is why Carragher's column wasn't just an opinion piece. It was a declaration of war. Here's my question for you. Should former players have this much influence over a club's current decisions? Is Carragher helping Liverpool or making things worse? Comment below, helping or hurting. Let's debate this. Now, here's the part of the story that nobody is talking about. And it's the most important part. Why is Jamie Carragher really doing this? On the surface, it seems obvious. He loves Liverpool, he's frustrated by the poor results, and he's using his platform to demand accountability. But what if there's more to it? Let me present you with 3 pieces of evidence that suggest Carragher's ultimatum has nothing to do with results, and everything to do with power. Evidence number 1. The timing. Carragher's column was published on March 14th, exactly 1 day after the PSV defeat. But here's the interesting part. According to sources close to Sky Sports, Carragher had been drafting versions of this column for weeks. He was waiting for the right moment, the right crisis, the right public anger to amplify his message. The PSV defeat gave him the perfect opportunity. But the intention, the desire to undermine Slot, had been building for months. Evidence number 2, the Xabi Alonso connection. 3 weeks before Carragher's column, Xabi Alonso, the former Liverpool midfielder and current Bayer Leverkusen manager, was asked in a press conference about the possibility of managing Liverpool one day. His response: "Liverpool will always be special to me. If the right opportunity came at the right time, it would be hard to say no." Within days, British media began running stories linking Alonso to the Liverpool job. Sources close to the club suggested that Alonso was the board's preferred choice if they decided to make a change. Now guess who has been publicly praising Xabi Alonso for months? Jamie Carragher. On Sky Sports, Carragher has called Alonso the most tactically advanced young manager in Europe and the perfect fit for Liverpool's next era. Coincidence? or coordination? Evidence number 3, the Klopp shadow. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Arne Slot was always going to fail in some people's eyes. Because he's not Jurgen Klopp. Klopp didn't just win trophies at Liverpool. He became a deity. The fans worshipped him. The players would run through walls for him. And the club legends, like Carragher, saw him as the ultimate validation of the Liverpool way. When Klopp left, he recommended Slot as his successor. The board trusted Klopp's judgment and appointed Slot without a lengthy search process. Slot won the league in his first season, largely with Klopp's squad and Klopp's tactical foundation. But in his second season, as Slot began implementing his own ideas, a more possession-based, controlled style compared to Klopp's gegenpressing chaos, the results have cratered. And now, the Klopp loyalists, led by Carragher, are using this downturn to argue, "See, he's not Klopp, he never was. We need someone who truly understands this club." So here's the real story. Jamie Carragher isn't trying to save Liverpool. He's trying to restore Liverpool. He wants to bring back the Klopp era, the Klopp intensity, the Klopp identity. And if that means destroying Arne Slot's reputation in the process, so be it. This isn't about 7 points from 3 games. This is about who gets to define what Liverpool Football Club stands for in the post-Klopp era. So how did Arne Slot respond to the most public execution attempt in modern football management? Saturday, March 15th. Liverpool versus West Ham at Anfield. The first game of Carragher's 7-day ultimatum. Slot's pre-match press conference was fascinating. When asked about Carragher's column, he said, "Jamie has every right to his opinion. He loves this club. But opinions don't win football matches. Performances do. And today, we'll show everyone what we're capable of." Diplomatic, measured, refusing to engage in a war of words. But behind the scenes, according to sources within the club, Slot was furious. He reportedly told his coaching staff, "If they want me gone, they'll have to sack me. I'm not walking away because a pundit sets a deadline." The West Ham result. Final score, Liverpool 3, West Ham 0. A dominant performance, clinical finishing, defensive solidity. Everything that had been missing during the 9-game crisis suddenly returned. Mohamed Salah scored twice. The crowd roared. Anfield felt alive again. After the match, Slot's post-match interview was pointed. "I told you, performances win matches. We delivered today, and we'll deliver again on Tuesday." The pressure continues. That Tuesday game is against Sunderland in the FA Cup quarter-final. On paper, it's winnable. Sunderland are a championship side. Liverpool should have enough quality to secure the 3 points Carragher demanded. But here's the problem. Even if Slot wins both remaining games and hits the 7-point target, has he really saved his job? Because the real question isn't about these 3 games. It's about the next 3 months. If Liverpool finish outside the top 4, miss Champions League qualification, and crash out of the FA Cup early, Carragher's ultimatum will look prophetic, and the board will have a decision to make. Stick with the manager who won them the league last year, or listen to the legend who claims the club's identity is at stake. Final question, before we wrap up. If you were Liverpool's owners, what would you do? Stick with Slot and give him time to rebuild, or sack him and bring in someone like Xabi Alonso? Comment below, Slot or Alonso. I want to know where this community stands. Here's what this story is really about. And it goes far beyond Liverpool, far beyond Arne Slot, far beyond Jamie Carragher. This is about legacy versus progress. Every top club in world football faces this dilemma. Do you honour the past or embrace the future? Manchester United are still haunted by Sir Alex Ferguson. Every manager since him has been compared to the impossible standard he set. And every manager has failed. Barcelona struggled for years to escape the shadow of Pep Guardiola. They kept hiring managers who tried to recreate his tiki-taka philosophy instead of building something new. And now, Liverpool face the same trap. Jurgen Klopp's legacy is so powerful, so beloved, that anyone who follows him will be judged not on their own merits, but on how closely they resemble him. Arne Slot is trying to build his Liverpool, a team that's more controlled, more possession-based, more tactical. But the Klopp loyalists, led by Carragher, don't want that Liverpool. They want the heavy metal football, the chaos, the intensity, the identity they fell in love with. And that's the tragedy of this story, because even if Slot meets Carragher's 7-point demand, even if he turns the season around and secures a top 4 finish, he'll always be fighting this battle. The ghosts of Anfield won't let him move on. The legend won't let him redefine the club. The past won't let him build the future. So the question isn't, can Arne Slot survive? The question is, should he even want to? Because at some point, you have to ask yourself, is it worth managing a club where your greatest enemy isn't the opposition, but your own history? So, there you have it. The complete story of Jamie Carragher's 7-day ultimatum, the hidden agendas, and the battle for Liverpool's soul. Before you go, I need 3 things from you. Smash that subscribe button on Cyberboot right now. We're the only channel that digs this deep, exposes these power games, and refuses to accept the mainstream narrative. If you want football analysis that actually makes you think, this is your home. Hit that like button if you believe this story is bigger than just one manager or one bad run of form. Your engagement tells YouTube that people want real analysis, not clickbait nonsense. Get in those comments and answer the 3 questions I asked you. Should managers get more time after winning the league, even if the second season struggles? Is Carragher helping or hurting Liverpool with his public criticism? If you were the owners, would you stick with Slot or bring in Alonso? I'm reading every comment. This is your community as much as it's mine. Let's build the smartest, most engaged football audience on YouTube. Arne Slot won his next game. 2 more to go. 7 points needed. The clock is ticking. But even if he survives this week, the real battle is just beginning. Because at Liverpool Football Club, the past is never really past, and legends never really let go. This has been Cyberboot. Stay tactical, stay informed, and never accept the narrative at face value. Because in football, the biggest battles aren't fought on the pitch. They're fought in boardrooms, press conferences, and newspaper columns. And right now, Jamie Carragher is winning.